I know that we're going to be speaking to you a lot over the next 2 years, but I wanted to take a moment and really kind of reflect on the time that we're in right now, and ask you sort of what has been the effect of this pandemic upon your personal art practice, either in the way that you're working or the ideas that you're exploring. And I think also I should say, none of us are really going to know the full after effects, I think, for several months, if not years down the road. But if you have any sort of initial ideas about the change or the effect of this pandemic upon you and your work right now.
Yeah, I think I've probably, like a lot of people, I've probably gone through a lot of the stages of acceptance or denial about the pandemic, or all of the politics involved, all the grief involved, and of course the loss of life, the loss of quote unquote normality as we know it. So as a creative though, I think it's been really good for me. I've tapped into a new way of understanding time, I think, and slowing down and appreciating the time that I have with myself. I think that as a creative, time with yourself is sacred, because that's where that's where I'm pulling from a lot of the time in order to get to the deeper, more meaningful parts of my life. So I've been very grateful for the time to create, and obviously I'm spending a lot of that time in work mode on this show. So I'm making the best of it. I'm also learning how to be much more flexible about expectations. I think as many of us are, there's a lot of uncertainty about what the world will look like once this is all over. My neighborhood in Brooklyn is interesting because it looks like Europe now. There's like all these outdoor seats, and people are like, people are in some odd way, people are expressing new freedoms, or at least sort of taking advantage of freedom wherever we can get it, because the freedoms we were used to are no longer available. So it's sort of a transition, and a really an everyday learning process about what I can do, what I want to do, what I have to do. Like those things are always in negotiation.
And, we've also spoken so much about how, there's multiple things going on right now. So we have a public health crisis, absolutely. But we also have this really important, meaningful initiative at the grassroots level, right? That has really just exploded in terms of social justice, in terms of equity and equality in this country. And we need so many people to be a part of that fight, from all different sectors of society. So there is no way that art, in and of itself is sort of a magic bullet, but it is still an integral part of what's going on between protests or the movement in general. And so I just wanted to ask, sort of, as an artist who's in New York City, what do you sort of personally feel art's role is in a social justice movement like we're seeing right now, either personally for you or just sort of what you've seen there out in the world?
Yeah, totally. I gotta say, like, I've been impressed with my arts community, and really seeing a lot of artists step up and use their talents, and use different platforms in order to help out with social justice. I've got friends that have been creating programs to, like, whether that's sort of like kickstarting funding campaigns, or they're selling work and allotting a percentage of sales towards Black Lives Matter or bailout funds or different projects like that that are getting supplies to protesters or that are providing some COVID relief funds towards artists affected or non-artists affected by the pandemic. So I've been really excited to see people step up and use their art as a power, as a political power, as a social power. I've joined a group called the Wide Awakes, which I believe was started by artist Hank Willis Thomas, who's a good friend of mine. But it's a team of a lot of different people. Many are artists, many are not, but we have taken to the streets and done some yelling and screaming and, you know, made ourselves present, made our voices heard, and have created, you know, some shift in temperature, hopefully, around awareness. And that's kind of what I'm really excited. Actually, I'm looking at my camera. I'm seeing in the background, there's a box of protest signs that I have right there, ready to go. So we did a project in Fort Greene Park where I deployed a beautiful poem by a poet named Ross Gay. And the poem talks about Eric Garner as a New York City gardener, New York City plants, parks and recs worker. So it's a beautiful poem, but that poem is, each line of that poem is on a protest sign that we installed in Fort Greene Park. So that's not a project that I think would have came to mind other than these times. I'm so excited about the ways that as an artist, I've been challenged to break through my own kind of self-imposed limitations and try new medium, try new ways of really getting to the point right now. So this time I think has been really good for squeezing the best art out of people.
And if there was ever any question, you're certain, right? Artists make the best protest signs.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Though I gotta say, Alexander, I've played Pictionary with artists, and artists are not great at Pictionary. They think about it too hard. Yeah. So
they think about the conceptual underpinnings of their drawing.
Yeah, it's too deep. Yeah.
Yashua, I know we have so much more to check in on, so we're just going to keep these conversations going. But I thought maybe as we close here, I would ask you if you have anything that you'd like to sort of shout out in terms of books or movies or any sort of part of the cultural sector that you think folks should be paying attention to right now.
Wow, that's good. Can I cheat and just tell you what I've been watching and reading?
That's totally recently? Fair.
That's sort of like on the tip of my mind. So I don't know, you know, how kind of like political or relevant. Well, I think there's a lot in there. I have been reading The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabella Wilkerson, who did this amazing book about the migration of African Americans from the South to the North. I think it's a depiction of 5 different families and their trajectories going to different parts of the United States. That's kind of always on deck. I've been, you know, really kind of getting into this series called Pose on Netflix, which is about the transgender ballroom culture in New York City in the 80s. That thing is so good. And that show is inspired by a documentary called Paris is Burning, which it was also made in the 80s. So that's kind of what I'm doing every night, like when I'm done in my studio. And then kind of all things Detroit. If you can see what's going on here, I'm kind of all about representing Detroit now. You know, there's some amazing artists in Detroit that I think are starting to get a little more spotlight. Tiff Massey is a friend. I think she's doing incredible work there. Mario Moore is an amazing painter in Detroit. The list goes on, but I'm excited about Detroit's art scene and kind of getting more involved with that. I've always had friends that were in Detroit and wanted to know how to bridge that gap in the arts. And now that I visit family there, there's even more interest to contribute and to be part of the voices that are coming out of there. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
All good recommendations. I can't wait to talk to you again, but for now, Yashua, I just want to thank you for taking the time. Again, for the Wellin Museum, I'm Alexander Jarman, and we are very excited to have Yashua Klos's show debuting at the Wellin Museum of Art in spring 2022. Yashua, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Alexander, thank you so much. Great talking with you.